we're pretty on time today. Coming to order. We got enough people. In terms of agenda approval, I think it's friendly to remove 8.1 in confidential. Is that correct? Cool. So we're just gonna move on from that. It was resolved offline, no longer needs to be deferred. So other than 8.1, is everyone okay with the agenda as presented? I need positive affirmation this time because, all right, thank you, Aria. Aria seconded it. Anybody else will want to talk about this? Jeff? Okay. Well then, all votes against the agenda is presented. All abstentions on the agenda. And all votes for the agenda is presented. Very cool. Oh, excellent. Very good, very good, very good. Great. Territorial acknowledgement. The Board of Directors acknowledges that the University of Waterloo is on the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, and Attawaderon peoples. Our organization occupies and operates on the land of the Haldeman Tract, which was promised to the Six Nations, including 6 miles on each side of the Grand River. We have minutes of the previous meeting. Any discussion on the minutes of the previous meeting? What are you giggling for? Are you reading them now? Do we need a second so that you could smash through the minutes, Teresa?
I smashed through them.
All right, cool. Well then, seeing no discussion on the minutes, let's do an approval vote. All in favor of the minutes of the previous meeting? Wow. Wow, what a contested approval. That wasn't quite unanimous, so all abstentions. All right, and all against. He's Matthew voted for. Oh. It's very cheating, Emma. Emma said she meant to vote. All right. It passes fine. Our main priorities for this meeting today are accountability and long-range planning, which, sure, I mean, that's happening, but it's not happening at this meeting, long-range planning. If we have conflicts of interest, I suspect we do have at least one for confidential, but we can resolve that at that time because of the HR matter, which I think is how it's been phrased in the agenda. But other than that one, does anyone have pecuniary interests going on today? Not surprising. All right, well then. We have no items in the consent agenda. I don't think we have any presentations today. We just have a proposed election timeline to discuss in open session. With that in mind, I guess we'll open discussion on the timeline. Anybody have immediate thoughts, or you want me to discuss it? Aria.
I'll ask a question. I think it's good. My only question is, what is the justification between such a long voting period? Like, do we think that's better compared to last time?
Just 6 days, man.
Yeah.
I don't hate it. I think this was like one thing that we saw at ERC was that a lot of people are like, I missed the time. Like there's like 1/3 of people who said like explained why they didn't vote. We're like, well, I missed the voting line. I don't know why our nomination period is so long.
It is very long. That's
like going through the process last year. I don't know how the rest of you felt. 85% of the nominations I received were the last week. Alex.
I think the long nomination period is a good thing because then it also lets us drum up for doing an election and it gives people time to decide if they're going to throw their name in.
I would actually.
Oh, I guess there's a point. Let's do Jeff with an out. Jeff with an Aria.
So I have a question. I think last year it was said that we weren't in a place to offer training to prospective candidates who want to run the election, as they know in the policy manual. Are we potentially in a position to do that this year, or are we also not planning on offering training sessions to perspective?
There will be training sessions offered, but that's not captured here. This is not part of what's going to be approved, but we have that in mind to have like prospective trainings for, trainings for prospective candidates. The one that's captured there is the actual all candidates meeting.
Yeah.
Which candidates?
I guess my question would just be, would you see that happening in January then? Just
Yes,
because
most likely.
the nomination period is
Mhm.
pretty deep in exams. Okay. Thanks.
All right.
I would actually be in favor of a longer nomination period for the officer roles. Like, I think this timeline is actually good for officer roles, less for directors, but because we have challenged recruiting officers usually in the corporation, having a longer time just gives us a better chance of getting people to run for it.
I mean, you're not wrong, but again, it was really only needed the week running up to the last week. Really was a better. It also felt like we were in election season for so long last year, and I didn't love that. Like it gives people time to prepare and set stuff up, but it really feels like you're just doing it during Christmas, whereas
I guess Christmas is a thing to keep in mind as a,
like nobody like wants to think about this during December. Jeff.
Great. Another question. What's campaign week? Like, when is the end of the campaign period?
It seems like it's short. The idea here being that it's a shortened period to actually be campaigning over 4 days. I mean, that's something that happened last year where it was like 2 or 3 weeks, wasn't it, of campaigning? Because we had a full week before the debate, and then there were a couple days after the
A
debate.
few weeks of campaigning. This is like a ridiculously long election last year.
Like this looks nice.
At the same time, though, this gives people like 2 days to put up posters.
Yes, that's-
Like, sorry, not 2 days, but like a really limited time to actually get out and do things and try and engage with students. Like, this is a really drastic reduction from what we've done, at least as far as I've seen.
That is the full sort of Monday to Friday at the end of January, the campaigning.
True.
maybe 2 weeks for campaigning and we cut nomination. I'll make sure.
Oh, sorry, two school weeks, you know, you don't mean like 14 days,
No.
like whatever the short is.
Just extend the campaign week to the 2nd.
February? I guess, just at the weekend, you mean?
Yeah.
We also, no, we can't really drag it back to immediately after candidates meeting. I also don't like that.
Is there any, like, could we not just open campaigning after the day after the candidates meeting?
I suppose, what are our plans here?
Like, assuming people can still campaign during the election period, that would give us the 27th to the 9th, that 24th to the 9th, which is like 1.5 weeks before voting opens. That's that, I guess.
We're pushing it back to the 24th again?
You mean the 24th to the 31st?
24.
So the only awkward part there being that, I guess we probably want to advance the nomination period to end before that, because if you get your nominations on the last day, then if you are expected to start campaigning on the 24th is a bit short of a timeline to if you want to do posters. Maybe.
Right.
Sorry, I feel like Mike might have more thoughts. Mike.
Okay, sorry. I think the regulations, if Marvin's pulled them up, I think we need at least 48 hours as an interim period, usually meant to check over the validity of nominations. So that is one consideration. We usually have the all candidates meeting either the day before or 2 days before campaigning starts, just to make sure people are briefed. People can start preparing their campaign materials during the nomination period as long as they don't put anything up. And the campaign week, some of the marketing team expressed that the candidates who ran last year said it was pretty drawn out, like you had mentioned, and compressing all the events into 1 week. And then they may also campaign during the voting period, which is something that's changed from 10 years ago when they could not.
Interesting.
As long as they do not directly provide methods of voting to people and oversee people actively casting their ballot because that would be seen as inappropriate. So campaign period itself has changed in definition, but it is in that document the period where only campaigning is happening, and then the voting period. Campaigning may also happen, but to separate them, we wanted to have that logistical separation of the voting period is somewhat distinct. Let me know if there's any. Aria, if there's a question.
Yeah, do Ari and Jeff.
I guess, okay, so this makes a lot more sense. So we can campaign now during voting period. That's frankly what I'm hearing.
Yes.
Which then,
You could do.
oh, you could last year too, huh?
I mean,
I forgot it's been a while.
cultures were still up, so. I.
So that's enough time in my opinion.
The voting period.
I look-y think that's enough time if you can campaign during voting period, because that gives you 2 weeks. Yeah,
I suspect people are used to sort of like Canadian elections though, they're told them you're not really supposed to, even though of course no candidates are gonna take down their posters on the side of the road. So that would put you at a disadvantage. I mean, the results being unofficial the next day seems reasonable as long as the ERC has a chance to check over them. Having those 48 hours is okay. Do we want to actually call it the nomination period on December 16th? Because that was so sort of like dragging last year. That's it, like the full month for nominations, more than a month and a month and a week, 5 weeks for nominations.
It doesn't hurt us it doesn't really hurt us at all.
I think it's better for clarity's sake too, right?
And you can start doing stuff early.
The initial announcement is gonna get ignored by people.
Yeah, that's the only thing I'm worried about. Is like, do we want people to be like, it's January, as opposed to, well, then start of next term, and then they go off and have Christmas and they come back and like not forget, but like it's out of mind or.
I don't know if it's like people are staying at home on Christmas break and fretting too much, but I don't know.
Yeah. That's the only sort of concern I have here. The half of this entire time is just nomination period. We also have to remember it's not just wait, no, we don't have any Senate elections this year, do we? Hey, what are we have the wrong guest in the audience today to ask questions about Senate.
so the Senate, yeah, there's an at-large.
Is it just Senate at large this time?
There's 2 Senate at-large, I believe, this time.
But none of the other ones. It's the off year then. Okay, whatever. Well then. Are we good to go to the vote on this one?
I guess just,
Oh, sorry.
is everyone okay with the one week of, like, the question, like, was it 3 weeks?
It's too much, Jeff.
Yeah, that is.
It hurt.
Do we know when it, I was trying to look it up, but I couldn't find the exact dates.
We did like edits and stuff. It was a lot.
3 weeks for the voting period?
We had 3
No,
weeks
whatever the old
Oh.
campaign of campaigning. It's
Yeah,
probably-
I think last year was like around 2.5, 3 weeks.
Okay.
Traditionally, it's been 2 weeks, just like full disclosure, from like the start of campaigning to when voting completes. It's been 2 full weeks, traditionally.
It was too much last year in terms of personal exhaustion. I think I think we can mostly agree on that.
It's gonna be the last couple of days anyway, for most people who are running, right? So
Everyone does it right at the end,
Yeah.
With the exception of one individual. He's not here. Anyways, any other discussion on this, Teresa?
Are there any concern about voting period being a little close to midterm?
when is midterms?
It's mostly an engineering problem, though.
I don't have midterms, so.
What's a whole week, right? You could take a minute in a whole week to vote.
Yeah.
The reason I bring it up is just because like technically, like what I'm hearing is even though campaign period is only 1 week, you also have the voting period to campaign as well.
Oh.
So that would be like my only, like, it's not like a deal breaker for me. I'm just wondering, like, do people foresee this being a problem for people?
I mean, if we if it starts being a problem, ERC can add an extra 2 days. But what a great question. When do Hell Weeks end? Important dates.
Sorry, just while we're
Sure.
looking at that, would we be comfortable if the notice period is intermission period? I missed the formal name for the in between all candidates and campaign needs to be 48 hours. Could we open that up to whatever time that is on Sunday, purely for the fact that some people might be on co-op and may not be able to? Because usually we've had weekends for people to set things up on, and I wouldn't want anyone to get reported for putting posters up Sunday nights when that's the only time they could.
Yeah.
It's a minor point.
I guess.
Just because we're stalling.
Oh,
We can start February 15th, so you're fine. You have like a full week of buffer time.
All right, we're great on that part. Do we want to move to Sunday?
And then what, they put posters up on the Tuesday?
They can put
Wednesday.
posters up Sunday.
Oh, on Sunday. Oh, well, that's a good.
Sure.
I could see
Why not?
Great.
Let's just do it.
That's the only change we're making. We're gonna change it by 1 day.
Perfect.
Wonderful conversation. I feel like we all had great use of time. Okay. Sorry, the only change I think we're looking at is having campaigning week start on January 26th, which is still 48 hours grace, but means that you can start doing things on Sunday without getting in trouble with the ERC to try and accommodate people who are in co-op, I guess.
Yeah, November, that's why it made no sense really. It's like November, followed by calendar, look at it, this doesn't add up.
Me twice.
All right, well, any further discussion on election dates? We should check in on the online crew. We got Matthew, Emma, Marici. Haven't heard much from you today. Do you care about election dates all that much?
That's easiest for us to look at.
Sounds like a no.
Yeah, it looks like no. Fine. Anyways, a little worried about VP nom. Okay,
Oh, please get food on the vote and stuff, but this way,
don't worry. We can slow down if you want.
let's pass this one.
Yeah, last year's VP nominations get funky, but they were funky for fun reasons. Because nobody wanted to run for VP.
Oh, no.
Anyway.
It's a
I'm sure this year will be different, but let's hope. Appetite.
Jeff's Sunday point is good. Other than that, longer.
I think okay, so I will
Cool. Everyone's happy. Do we go vote at this point? Anybody objecting to vote? I'll give you 5 seconds to interrupt me. Matthew's sick.
Oh,
There's a pertussis like thing going around in Waterloo.
I don't even know what that is.
Pertussis. You're supposed to get vaccinated for it as a baby.
like whooping cough.
Whooping
Okay.
cough.
Yeah.
I got it.
I mean, okay. Well then, all votes against, the election dates with the one modification to campaigning week. All abstentions. I will also abstain. And all for the election timeline with the addition of that Sunday bonus day. Cool. Not quite unanimous, but it passes easily. All right, moving on. We have no unfinished business.
No.
We have no information items.
You can leave yourself.
We have no general reports. Confidential is where we're going to next. We have to wait for Nush to leave.
This is the guy that was watching the streams, by the way.
Oh! When I say hi, Nush, it's no.
We should not do that.
Hi, Nash. Welcome back to the end of the board meeting. I don't know.
Probably not.
Hi, Nash. During the confidential section, we first heard actually most of that probably didn't need to be confidential, and that was about increasing funding to clubs lockers. So we're looking to almost double the number of clubs lockers that are available by allocating some additional funds outside of the normal budget to that, which unfortunately they're pretty expensive. I think it was about 57K, but it like doubles our capacity, so that's pretty great. I will share more specifics with the governance department as appropriate. But that is where we're at. I think that's the end of the meeting. Anything else to talk about? All right, go home. I mean, most of you are in various states of home, but go home if you're not home. Thank you very much. That's the end of our meeting for today. Let's adjourn. Bye. I'm just gonna wave.